Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome back, everyone. Inshallah, we're going to be starting our new series of lectures or classes going forward. We've already completed the 80% of the Quranic words, the booklet that we had in the past previous videos. We finished all of those, alhamdulillah, and then now today I will be starting our new journey, inshallah, and this is going to be the focus of these videos are going to be on mainly on reciting the Quran properly, which we call reciting the Quran with Tajweed, meaning that the proper way to pronounce the huruf of the Quran and the proper way of where the trying to find out the makhraj of makhraj being it's the point of articulation or where that sound is coming from. It's from the mouth or it's from the tongue or from it's from the teeth or it's from the throat or so we're going to inshallah be talking about all of those. And so these series of videos, I don't know how many are we're gonna have excuse me, but we'll just take it as we move forward and see. It shouldn't be too many, but inshallah we want to work on more detailed examples, and so we have a better understanding of how we read something, certain words in the Quran, and how do we pronounce it, where are the rules, how do we hold it for how long, or how do we make it short, do we make it long. So these are all the things that we're going to be inshallah covering going forward. So without further ado, we're going to inshallah start today. The first thing that we're going to be starting with, it is going to be the rules of noon and the rules of Meem. So I'll go ahead and put that on the board here. And this is rules of noon and Meem. Make sure you guys can see that. Yes. So being this is an also an Arabic class, so I'm going to go ahead and write everything also in Arabic as well. So this is going to be called al-ahkam. Al-ahkam. Al-ahkam an-nun wal-mim المشدتين. Al-Mushaddatain, meaning that it has two shadda on it. So what does this mean? I will go ahead and write it in. We already said al-ahkam an-nun, meaning these are the rules of noon, wal-mim, and the mim. Al-Mushaddatain, meaning that they have shidda on them. What is shidda? So this is the symbol that we're going to be focusing on. It looks like a little W. So this is called a shadda, or sometimes it's pronounced as shidda. Okay. So what this means is when we come across certain words in the Quran, inshallah, that, and when we see this, like a little small W on it, that means that there's going to be two of that specific letter back to back in that word. So like, for example, as we're going to go from the example from the Quran, we come across so many times in the word for the noon, we have like inna, right? We've seen this, we read this all the time, inna. So when we break this down, this actually means the noon is, we're gonna divide it here. So there's two noons, the first one and then the second one. So the first one has a sukoon and then the second one has a fatha. So what happens when you join these two, because you can't write it like this because it's going to look weird. So then you merge these two and then you're going to write it as one, noon. And then you bring the shidda sign and then you bring the fatha that it had, the fatha, whatever it had. If it had a dhamma, do you write the dhamma? If it had a kasra, then you do the kasra. In this case, there's a fatha, so we bring the fatha back on top. So now the alif and the hamza is going to be here. So it's going to be read as inna. All right, so now we already figured this out, how we're going to write this. Now, as far as what is the rule here? So when we come across this, it's better to understand why you're doing something. If someone asks you, why are you doing it like this? Why are you, when you're reciting, you're holding the sound for this long? It's always, I think, for me, the way I learned is that it's good to know the rules, the names of the rules as to what you're doing, instead of just, well, because there's two of them here, you just hold and you make. It's fine if you want to just say it in English, but it's always good to know the Arabic terminology as well, the rules in Arabic as well. So in this case, what happens is, let's say we come across the word inna in the Quran. So we're going to read this as 2 beats, or we're going to hold it for 2 beats. What does that mean? So we're going to read it as inna. See, we held it for 2 beats, and it has the nasal sound, because if you hold, the property of noon and meem is it's the character. It's in its character. If you hold it just a little bit, automatically the nasal sound comes out. Mm, 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 mm. If we say meem, see, the nasal sound is coming. The noon, the nasal sound is there. So in this case, we're going to hold it for 2 beats or 2 counts, right? So you hold it in, okay? And then whatever the word that's going to be after it, then you're going to read it like that. Like, for example, let's just say, no, it's not right. Sorry. Okay, for example, now you have inna, and then you have the word al-insan right after it. So you're going to hold this for 2 beats. Innal. Now it's going to go to, you're going to have to merge it here, because you can't read inna and then you can't say al, because you have the hamzatul wasl here, so you have to merge them together. But I'm just showing an example how you're going to read it when it comes with something else. Innal insana. So that's how we read it. And this part right here, so how we're going to describe this is, I'm going to remove this. We're going to describe this as, let me see if I can get a different marker. It's called Noon Mushaddadah. Noon Mushaddadah B Ghunna. We have 2 beats or counts. Okay, so this is how you're going to describe this right there, this rule that applies to noon with the shadda on it. So anytime we come across this, we can describe it as in, what is this? This is noon mushaddada, noon. There's mushaddada, there's a shadda on it. And it's ghunna, it got automatically, the ghunna, the nasal sound is going to come out. And then we hold it for 2 counts, like 1, 2, right? And then you let go, and then you're going to read it with whatever is coming after that. All right, so this is how we describe it as noon mushaddada, meaning this is the letter noon, and it's mushaddada, meaning there's 2 noons back to back. Bi ghunna, this is Arabic terminology, but I wrote it in English. Bi meaning with, bi meaning with, And ghunna means it's a nasal sound. It comes from your nose upper here. When you hold the noon, it comes from nasal. And then 2 beats or 2 counts, we hold it for that many counts. Okay. So let me erase this. Now it's going to give you another example that we have here. We have la, tara, tara. Okay. La tarawunna. La tarawunna. So this is also, la is another, it's for emphasis, meaning for sure, definitely. So here we have the noon mushaddada again. Now this time it's at the end of the word. Again, before it was inna in the beginning. Now it's coming at the end of the word. La tarawunna. La tarawunna. So how this is, we hold it for 2 beats. The nasal sound is coming, and that's the proper way to read noon mushaddada bi ghunna. La tarawunna. La tarawunna. Okay. All right. Let's give the next example, inshallah. We have the word and we come across this so many times in the Quran. An-nas, 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 right? So when you're asked, describe, we have, you're probably wondering, it's a little bit confusing. So we have al is here, and then you have noon mushaddada with alif and then nas, right? But when you put it together, it's written like this, an-nas. So now we're going to read it as an. This lam is not even pronounced. We're going to inshallah cover those later on, but for now, our focus is on the noon mushaddada. So we read it like an-nas. Don't even pronounce the lam. An-nas. Okay. An-nas. An-nas, how we describe it is noon mushaddada bi ghunna tu haraka. Mushaddada bi ghunna tu haraka. All right. And the next one is, for example, we have in the word, let's see. Okay. So here's this is bin nasiya. Bin nasiya. Again, we are not pronouncing the al here, the alif and the lam here. And it goes automatically to the noon mushaddada. Bin nasiya. So this goes with that. And here's our noon mushaddada bi ghunna tu haraka, meaning that we hold it for 2 beats. Bin nasiya. Now the next word we have is, I'm just giving these examples, inshallah, so we have a good practice. Bi jahannam. So we have the word bi jahannam. Jahannam. So B is, I'm also pointing out things that are attached here. We have the word Jahannam, but then here's B, meaning in or with or in. So depending on the context as what it is, but B, so that's a separate thing that's attached here. B Jahannam. So how are we going to read it here? Now the rule applies here. As a student of Tajweed, it's best to be able to describe what you're doing. So if someone says, give me the rules, on this word, bi jahannam. Of course, sometimes there are going to be more rules, but right now we're focusing on just the noon mushaddad. So you're going to be reading it as bi jahannama, and then you're going to go back and say this is noon mushaddada bi ghunna to haraka, right? Okay. All right, inshallah. So these were all the examples for the noon mushaddada, and then now we're going to go on for Meem. Let's see what we have. So here we're just gonna, my board is moving. Just gonna remove the noon. I'm gonna put Meem, and the rest is gonna be the same. Okay, the rest is gonna be the same. Meem mushaddada bi ghunna to haraka. I'm sorry, I keep saying to haraka. I apologize. Sometimes I just get in a zone. Haraka means beats, or and just like a easy explanation. Harakat actually means the movement, right? So it means when I say two haraka, meaning that's or six haraka or five haraka, whatever I'm saying. Sometimes I say haraka, and that means it's this. I'm talking about the beats or the counts. Okay, so that's what that means. All right, so now we have the word amma. So what is happening here? We have, remember I said with the noon example, we have one Meem that sukoon has a sukoon on it, plus another Meem that has a fatha on it, right? So now we have to merge these two together. Sorry, nope. Let's clean this. Let's write it up here. And so there's two Meems, and then we're gonna write it like this, right? So we have Meem, there's a shadda, and then there's fatha on it. So now we know as a student that there's a shidda on it, and so there's two Meems in here. And the reason we are slowing down and we're giving it the two spaces or the two counts, two beats, is because each letter in here we have to give its proper place or proper space in here, because if we do it too fast, we're gonna skip over that. If I just read this as amma, I didn't do justice. I didn't give the space for the other Meem, right? I just said amma, amma. I didn't hold it long enough to bring both of the Meems out, right? So same rule apply here, which we did with the noon. So now we have two Meems. One is sukoon, one has a fatha. We merge it together. Now it's ma. All right. So how are we going to read this now? Amma, amma, amma. Now we're going to describe this as Meem mushaddada bi ghunna to haraka, meaning there's a Meem with a shadda on it, and it has a nasal sound. There's a ghunna, there's a nasal sound, and then we hold it for two beats or two counts or two haraka. Okay. The next one we have is example. Let me just move this one so we have more space here. We have the word thumma. Thumma. Anytime we come across in the Quran that we read thumma, thumma, thumma. Meem mushaddada bi ghunna to haraka. There's a Meem with the shadda on it. It has a nasal sound, and we hold it for two beats or two counts. Okay. All right. Next example we have is wa amma. All right. Some of these are from not some of these, all of them are from different places from the Quran. So since these words are throughout the Quran, so it's hard to give you an example of, okay, it's in this surah and this surah. But if you just kind of scan through, especially if you guys go back towards like the 30th juz, the last juz of the Quran, the smaller surahs, and you can come across these a lot faster, and you can pinpoint that. And if you guys can find, there's plenty of Qurans out there, mushafs out there that has already highlighted a lot of the Tajweed rules. So if you guys are really serious, it's a good idea to invest in one and purchase one of those mushafs where it has a color-coded Tajweed rules. So I'm going to show you one. I'm not sponsoring anything. They're not sponsoring me. Nobody's paying me for it. I'm just, because I have it at home, and so I wanted to just kind of point that out to you guys. These are, you can order these from, I believe you can get them from Amazon, or there are probably some other Islamic sites that you can order. And of course, these are like smaller. They have certain, which one is this? This one, this is separate juz, the smaller one. So I think, I'm not sure if this is the last one, and this is not the last juz, but anyways, you can get these, so it's easy. They're pretty thin, and it's easy to carry around with, instead of taking like the whole mushaf with you. Sometimes they become heavy and whatnot, but if you take one of these, so then you'll have, and I'll show you exactly what I'm talking about as far as like color coding. So it will show you, if you can see, hopefully it's not too blurred, but you can see certain parts are color coded in red or blue and green, and sometimes they're like in light gray. So this is, and of course in the bottom, as you can see, all of these color codes, they mean something, so then you can apply, inshallah, and then that'll help you with recitation. It's just a suggestion, you don't have to do it, but I'm just pointing out what could help when you guys are reciting, inshallah. All right, so here's another example. Wa is, of course, it's separate here, meaning and. We talked about all of these. Wa. Amma, meaning as for. Amma. So how do we read this? Because now we have the Meem here. Meem, and is attached to alif. And then we read it as Amma. And then this is a different rule, but we're not focusing on that right now. We're just Meem. Amma, amma, wa amma. All right. So this, we're going to describe this as Meem Mushaddadah bi ghunnatu haraka. Meem with the shadda, it has a nasal sound, and it has two. We hold it for 2 beats or 2 counts. All right. The other example is pretty much the same, similar. Let's see if I can write it here. And then sometimes it's fa. All right, and just from our classes before that we've covered on different things, the 80% of the Quranic verbs, words. Fa is something that we already discussed. That's a separate thing, meaning so. So sometimes you see fa or ba or b, depending with a fatha or kasra, is being attached, or li or la is being attached to a word. And those are just separate things that they get attached to words, and then it changes the meaning. So in this case, fa meaning so, fa amma, so amma, and for what? So depending on the context as to what you're reading, the meaning will be according to that. But our point is, for pronunciation of the Meem Mushaddadah bi ghunnatu haraka. فَأَمَّا. So now we hold it for 2 beats, right? And we describe this as Meem Mushaddadah bi ghunnatu haraka. Okay. All right, inshallah, I think these are good examples so far. I mean, and if we can go out through the different, excuse me, the different parts, you can always go to, if you could get your mushaf out, go through the last, 30th juz, and you can start on the smaller surahs where it's easily um, recognizable, and we read these all the time, inshallah. So we're very familiar with most of these surahs. So that's why it's really a good idea to, when you have the rules, learning the rules apply here, because they're smaller and you can look for them quickly. So for example, we have, here's the word anna. So now we should be able to read this, and it's already highlighted in the green. It is highlighted in the green, so that means that you have to read this with the ghunna, the way we've been doing it. Annas, annas. It's repeated several times. So this is what's so good about it, because it kind of points out in the areas where there are tajweed rules. So it makes you aware that, okay, it's color coded for a reason. I have to stop and figure out why is this in red, or why is this in blue or purple or whatever. I don't think there's any purple, but like orange and all of these different colors they have down here. So that helps a lot. All right. So inshallah, I think that was the beginning and Meem and rule we covered first, because we come across a lot of the words in the Quran. It starts with like anna, inna, and the noon Mushaddadah comes with a lot of the words in the Quran. So we need to know exactly, inshallah, how to recite it, give the proper space as far as the pronunciation goes, give the place for each letter, and so because we don't want to rush through it as we're beginner, as we're learning. Alhamdulillah, that's fine. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is forgiving, but we want to strive more and more to correct ourselves, correct our mistakes, because you know once you do that, and then when you start reciting, it just becomes even more beautiful when you read with proper tajweed, inshallah. All right, so we will stop. This was our first video, video number 1. It's our first video, inshallah, as far as the tajweed rules go, and then we're going to continue with our next video, inshallah. Until next time, assalamu alaikum.